Tracking the power evolution in Dragon Ball from the very start, we can firmly confirm that little Goku was an insanely strong fighter, easily taking down massive, roaring beasts way bigger than him. Surviving in the wild was a breeze, his base power level. While an ordinary human farmer sits at just 5, Goku debuts with 42, making him 8 times stronger than a normal guy upon turning into a great ape. His raw power explodes by 10 times, hitting 420. At that time, the undisputed strongest mortal on Earth was Master Roshi. His power reached 75 points, bulking up hits 120, and his Kamehameha blast spikes to 170 points of power. Roshi was the only man to climb Korin Tower in a solid 100 years, and he was also the only fighter in the world who could fire the iconic Kamehameha wave. But there is always a higher peak, somewhere out there. Maybe because Roshi got old and rusty, vastly stronger fighters began to rise across the globe. Mercenary Dao suddenly appeared with a base power of 110, enough to instantly obliterate Goku, who was sitting at a mere 29. Luckily, the kid had a Senzu bean, climbed the tower, trained with Korin, and returned with a power level of 125, kicking Mercenary Dao's teeth in. The assassin blew himself up. At this specific stage, we can officially consider Tien as the strongest with a power level of 135. By the 22nd tournament, the heroes showed up, Krillin at 115, his Kamehameha hitting 127, Master Shan at 120. Master Roshi trained hard, reaching 139 points. Chiaotzu, the Crane School disciple, pushed his power up to 145, Goku hit 150, and his charged Kamehameha surged to 195. Tien's Tri-Beam peaked at 250. In this intense martial arts bracket, Tien reigned supreme, with his ultimate blast hitting 210 points of power. But the moment the grand finals wrapped up, Krillin was brutally murdered. Far more terrifying villains started dropping in right from this moment. His cold-blooded killer was a minion standing right here. That was Tambourine. Flexing a power level of 137, he easily overpowered Goku, but since Goku was exhausted and hungry, the demon beat him down effortlessly. Later on, Goku engaged in a fierce deathmatch with the Demon King Piccolo himself, but quickly suffered a crushing defeat because his raw power, including the Kamehameha, was only 198, while the Demon King's power stood at an overwhelming 260. Energy blasts were completely useless. The old demon wished upon the dragon to regain his youth, boosting his power to 260 and ruthlessly killing the dragon. You could truly consider him the undisputed champion of Earth. Goku climbed back up to Korin, drank the ultra-divine water, and survived the agonizing poison. His dormant power exploded to 260, matching Piccolo exactly. He hunted that bastard down for immediate revenge. He completely obliterated Drum, who had 178 power. Tien Shinhan stood at 148. The Demon King fired a brutal explosive wave with a power level reaching 292, battering Goku and causing him agonizing pain. He was no joke. Piccolo unleashed an ultimate destructive blast hitting 300 points. Thank the heavens, Tien managed to save Goku's life. By the second blast, Goku was utterly battered, but not dead yet. With just one good arm left, Goku blasted the ground, launched himself up, and unleashed massive protagonist energy, surging to 335 to pierce right through Piccolo. The demon died right after, but he managed to spit out one final egg. That exact egg was the reincarnation of Piccolo Jr. After that, Goku went up to Kami's lookout. Kami revived the dragon to resurrect all their fallen brothers and friends. Up there, he met Mr. Popo, who flexed a power of 288, totally dominating Goku with his spatial awareness, and Kami, the good half of the Demon King, appeared with a raw power of 310 points. At this point in the storyline, the strongest being was clearly Kami, packing power 62 times greater than an average human. 3 whole years passed, starting the 23rd martial arts clash. After brutal training, their power totally skyrocketed. Yamcha hit combat level 164, blast power 220, Krillin reached 195, driving his Kamehameha to 240. Tien showed a raw base of 236, completely ignoring his energy blasts. Piccolo Jr. fully matured. Wielding power at 217, Goku bulked up massively, hitting 221 points. Those old final bosses became total fodder, like Cyborg Dao with a miserable 152, destroyed instantly. Chiaotzu held 122. Kami possessed some random barber, keeping his strength at 310, aiming to seal Piccolo away forever. One single slap sent pathetic Yamcha flying across the entire arena, shedding his 100-kilogram weights. Goku pushed his level to 368, ready to crush Tien. Piccolo unleashed true power at 364, trapping Kami right inside a sealed jar. Piccolo fought Goku on completely equal ground, firing a massive blast at 698. Shockingly, Goku fired back a Kamehameha at 768, securing the ultimate victory despite the fight dragging on. Ending the 23rd tournament, Goku proved his raw strength was unmatched, peaking at 368. Yet years later, the brutal alien era began. His Saiyang brother, Raditz, landed with 1220 points, utterly dominating the strongest warriors on Earth combined. Goku held 334, and Piccolo had 322, barely improving at all. Stripping their weights, Goku reached 416 and Piccolo 408. Together, they remained completely outclassed, taking a massive beating. Gohan snapped into pure rage, hitting 1307. He landed one single strike to wound Raditz, only to get smacked down brutally right after. Goku fired a 924 blast doing absolutely nothing. They played dirty, grabbing his tail. Piccolo charged his energy for half an hour, drilling them both with a 1330 Makanko Sappo. But honestly, Raditz was just a low-tier pathetic scrub they barely managed to kill. His ruthless crew featured an incredibly powerful short guy and a giant bald brute. Goku entered the underworld keeping his physical body, avoiding the standard soul treatment. They faced King Yemma, boasting 1950 power, but he never used it, simply locking dead souls away with his mighty magic. Training under Piccolo, Gohan accidentally transformed into a great ape at 2100. That meant the kid possessed a raw base power of 210, but Piccolo swiftly destroyed the glowing moon, severing the tail of the boy right away. Goku ran the million-kilometer snake way to meet a cosmic god. Somehow, he finished in just 6 months. A million kilometers in 182 days is roughly 5,500 daily. With 20 hours sprinting and 4 sleeping, his speed was 275 kilometers an hour. Absolute sheer insanity, running faster than a heavy motorbike for half a year non-stop. Up there, he met the hilarious King Kai, ruler of the Northern Galaxy gods. Holding a combat power of 2,500, at this timeline, King Kai was the absolute peak. A weakling like Raditz would die from a single casual slap. Awaiting the Saiyang invasion, everyone trained with desperation. Every Earth fighter matched Raditz in just a single year. Good lord, if they trained this hard earlier, they would have been absolute unstoppable bosses. Gohan reached 1080, Yamcha 1300, firing his massive Kamehameha at 1480, yet the man died first. Despite easily surpassing that old pathetic Raditz, Krillin hit 1770, his Kamehameha reaching 2150, Tien stood at 1830, blasting 2600. They easily crushed those miserable Cybermen, sitting at 1200 power. Man, arriving slightly earlier, those creatures could have wiped the entire planet. Nappa landed with 4000 power, capable of wiping out all humanity. Piccolo at 3500 was pure trash to him. Nappa brutalized everyone, punching down Krillin and Tien. Despite their 17 and 1800 levels, Goku arrived just in time with 5000 power. Boiling with pure rage, he spiked to 8000, leaving Nappa completely frozen, unable to touch a single hair on his head. Nappa maxed his aura out at 7500 but still failed completely. Playing dirty against the others forced Goku to trigger his blazing Kaioken, surging to 12,125. He paralyzed Nappa completely. Unexpectedly, Vegeta wielded a terrifying 16,500. Even after godly training, Goku barely passed 8,000. Seeing total doom, Goku cheated with a Kaioken ×2, pushing his fists to 16,000 for a brutal slap. Holy crap, but Vegeta shrugged it off, countering with a vicious kick, charging his maximum power to 18,000. He mercilessly beat Goku until his teeth nearly shattered, refusing defeat. Goku fled a Kaioken ×3, spiking his damage to 24,300, smashing Vegeta right in the bloody mouth. Furious, the arrogant prince fired his Gallic gun, pushing 27,000 points to vaporize that cocky monkey completely. But no, Goku stacked another deadly multiplier, unleashing Kaioken ×4, fusing it with a Kamehameha. He hit 35,000, violently reflecting the blast of Vegeta. Surviving by pure luck, Vegeta dodged the deadly blast. Leaping down, he forged a massive ki ball to create a fake artificial moon. His great ape transformation shook the distant planet of King Kai. Vegeta skyrocketed to 72,000, doubling the maximum state of Goku, 14,400 times a normal human, unable to transform. Goku was completely trapped. Someone had to save the Earth right now. With sheer bloody bad luck, the towering beast got blinded. Sneaking behind, Yajirobe used his pathetic 400 power to slash its tail, reverting the monster to human form. Human again, but still wielding 7,100 power, he viciously stomped the face of Goku like a helpless puppy. Enraged, Gohan spiked to 5,200. Being drastically weaker, he threw flashy attacks just to kick the face of Vegeta. The ruthless prince immediately kicked back, leaving the kid seeing stars. Just as Vegeta regained total dominance, his own fake moon completely screwed him over. Gohan transformed into a great ape, holding just 4,500. His infinite durability crushed those battered fighters. Damn it, a maggot when healthy, but a tank when exhausted. Vegeta slashed the tail of the kid, but with his energy entirely drained, he called his pod to retreat and heal. The strongest in this brutal clash was Goku with his spirit bomb hitting 200,000, pure overkill against Vegeta at 24,000 maximum power, yet this attack takes half an hour to charge and breaks easily. Goku took a massive beating while charging, leaving him zero time to gather his energy. On planet Namek, the true warriors finally started appearing. We can skip the pathetic Frieza grunts averaging 500 power. Normal Namekian fighters already held 1,000 raw power. Pushing to their maximum limits, they could easily hit 3,000. As for the Earthlings, Gohan hit 1,550, then the king buffed him to 16,000. Krillin went from 1,860 up to 14,000. These guys could instantly declare those Frieza troops as utter trash. Unexpectedly, the elite Frieza followers leeching his fame held unimaginable power. Qui stood at 18,000, Dodoria at 20,000, and the flashy Zarbon at 21,000. Vegeta instantly smacked this squad down. After healing, his base power jumped from 16,500 to 24,000. He proved he was no longer the old Vegeta. Swiftly executing Qui and Dodoria, he brutally battered the flashy guy. But that freak possessed a transformation pushing his power straight to 28,000. He beat Vegeta into an bloody pulp, pile driving his head right into the dirt, leaving him for dead. Returning later to find the bastard alive, he dragged him home for torture. What an idiot. Healing this demon just to extract information. Unexpectedly, Cers grows stronger after near death. Recovering completely, Vegeta surged to 30,000, totally dominating the transformed Zarbon and destroying him. Lie overpowered, but there is always a higher mountain. Frieza commanded a tanky squad named the Ginyu Force. Guldo had 3,000, Berta 42,000, Jeice 43,000, Recoome 45,000. The captain Ginyu boasted 120,000. Beside them, Vegeta was just a baby, making him nearly wet his pants in fear. Guldo got killed in no time, then Recoome beat Vegeta into pure pulp. Goku landed his spaceship holding a post-revival power of 90,000. He quickly dismantled the big brute, and the other two were no match for him. He tossed Vegeta a magic bean to restore his vitality, right after recovering from that near-death beating. the power of Vegeta spiked by 50% to 76,000, truly overpowered, with their damage multiplying every single time they revive. Nobody in the universe can withstand these crazy Saiyans. But 90,000 Goku fell short against the 120,000 Jinyu. Firing a double Kaioken, he pushed his might to 180,000. Jinyu craved that power so badly, he severely wounded his own body, then ruthlessly stole the physique of Goku. However, he became a rather trashy Goku with only 23,000 power. The weak Krillin punched him out easily because he lacked experience with a Saiyang body. Eventually, he turned into a frog in disgrace. On another battlefield, the Royal Guard Nail buffed his power to 42,000. Meanwhile, his opponent Frieza wielded a terrifying 530,000, and fighting an elephant. At this stage, Frieza reigned supreme with 530,000, but everything shifted in the following act, showing some horrifying power multipliers. Moving to the Frieza showdown, if you think you made mistakes in the past, just watch this. This foolish squad used 2 wishes to revive Piccolo at 20,000 power. Sure, bringing Piccolo back revives Kami and restores the Earth Dragon Balls. But why the hell did they transport him to Namek just to sacrifice his body? Was that not completely bloody useless? Luckily, he met the dying Namekian Super Guard along the way. They fused, transferring the entire Namekian strength to hit 1,100,000. Doubling the power of Frieza. Wow, a 42,000 guy fusing with a 20,000 guy creates a 1,100,000 warrior. That is 40 times their average power. So if they just breed countless Namekians and fuse them all together, would they not become the ultimate masters of the universe? Honestly, just grab a few more Namekians to fuse with, and Frieza becomes a joke. Frieza swiftly triggered his first transformation, instantly hitting 1,060,000. Vegeta at maximum power held a miserable 240,000. That monster Frieza swiftly impaled the stomach of Krillin, driving Gohan into a blazing rage. His power surged from 26,000 to a berserk 900,000. Caught completely off guard, Frieza got beaten like a rabid dog. The energy blast of Gohan even hit 1,600,000, managing to wound the mighty Frieza. Meanwhile, Vegeta was completely delusional, believing everyone including himself had become a Super Saiyang, but they were all still garbage. After that attack, everyone completely choked, leaving Frieza to solo them all. Right then, Piccolo arrived and battered Frieza like a stray mutt. But with equal power levels, Frieza held a slight advantage in combat technique. Then Piccolo stripped off his ton-heavy weights, claiming he was holding back. His power skyrocketed to 1,400,000. Wait, what the hell? But before Piccolo could brag any further, Frieza swiftly unleashed his second alien head transformation. He reached 2,120,000, nearly doubling the current Piccolo. Moving 10 times faster, he battered Piccolo worse than a torn and filthy blanket. Down below, a terrified Vegeta begged them to beat him near death. He claimed getting revived by the short kid would multiply his strength tenfold to fight Frieza, but that damn Namekian refused to heal him, leaving Vegeta crying in sheer tears. They finally pressured him into healing Vegeta, who instantly kicked him for being insolent. Vegeta now reached 2,400,000 power, surpassing Frieza by 300,000. Overflowing with confidence, he declared, "I can now defeat Frieza or anyone else in this entire universe, for I have become a Super Saiyang." Right at this exact moment, Frieza shifted into his ultimate final form. Vegeta remained extremely confident. "Ha ha ha, Frieza, the one laughing now is me. I am finally a Super Saiyang. Are you terrified?" Yet charging in, every punch missed completely. The current power of Frieza stood at 4,240,000. That doubled the revived Vegeta and tripled the pathetic Piccolo. He massacred Vegeta without any mercy. For the first time in his entire arrogant life, Vegeta shed endless tears, crying from pure overwhelming terror. By the time Goku arrives fully healed, his base power level sits at an imposing 3 million. There is no need for messy transformations like Frieza, yet it remains insufficient to crush that frosty lizard. Goku spams his Kaioken state to reach a staggering 6 million, guaranteeing severe physical backlash once the dust settles. That tyrant Frieza switches to his playtime mode at 6,500,000. keeping his hands behind his back and letting Goku fight on solid ground. However, Goku unleashes a dirty tail bite, sending Frieza into a raging frenzy that ends in a brutal face smash. Why play dirty like that? I thought you promised no hands. Ha ha, I was merely toying with you, little monkey, warming up for my own amusement. If I unleashed my true fury, you would soil your armor. Care to witness what 50% of my terror looks like? Heavens above. It turns out Frieza was operating at a pathetic 5% all along, surging to 50% immediately. Skyrockets his power to 60 million. Goku pushes Kaioken times 10 to reach 30 million, hoping to inflict some damage, but it barely leaves a mark. He forces out a desperate Kaioken times 20, launching a massive Kamehameha that only manages to leave minor scratches on Frieza. With a monstrous 60 million, it is obvious the tyrant holds vast reserves of untapped energy. Goku gathers a colossal spirit bomb, pushing his energy to 95 million, aiming to obliterate Frieza entirely. Yet the villain survives the cataclysmic impact, defying the undeniable certainty of his demise through pure, unadulterated luck. The cold-blooded murder of Krillin shatters Goku, sparking a blinding rage that awakens the legendary Super Saiyan. This historic transformation multiplies his base power 50 times, crowning him with 150 million points. Frieza retaliates using 70% of his maximum, firing an 84 million point blast that fails to inflict any harm. Backed into a corner, he channels his ultimate desperation, maxing out at a complete 100% to hit 120 million. By this time, combat fatigue is draining Goku, though the Golden Warrior maintains a slight edge over his galactic nemesis. The earth-shattering clash drags on for half an hour, until Goku grows bored and starts dodging attacks for mere entertainment. The Saiyang arrogantly tells Frieza to retreat and train for a future rematch. Heavens forbid. A training montage right now would unleash Golden Frieza decades too early. In a twist of fate, Frieza slices himself in half with his own rogue energy disc, causing his immense power to plummet down to a pitiful 5 million. Following that miserable blunder, the 150 million Super Saiyang blasts the crippled tyrant into cosmic dust. Shortly after that final strike, Goku seemingly perishes in the catastrophic explosion of planet Namek. So in slightly over a decade of Dragon Ball history, the ultimate ceiling has skyrocketed from a measly 130 to 150 million. Goku now stands as the apex predator of the universe, boasting a level 30 million times greater than a regular human. One can only wonder what astronomical heights he will conquer next. A full year passes. Those seemingly irrelevant fighters with a petty 1,000 points have surged into the tens of thousands. And they achieved this without Guru unlocking their potential. Like Gohan, this growth is horrifyingly fast. I dare you to find a mortal who multiplies their strength dozens of times in a single year, like bench pressing 60 kilograms today and 600 the next. At this stage, Chiaotzu claims the title of the weakest link with 14,000 points, making him 11 times stronger than Raditz from 2 years prior. Wow, pity my poor Saiyang brother, once a terrifying invader, now outclassed by the bottom tier. Our little mime would spin Raditz around by the hair like a helpless ragdoll. The second weakest is Yamcha, holding 33,000 points, multiplying his combat prowess 25 times in a mere 2 years. Back during the Saiyang invasion, he was stuck at 1,300. Krillin boasts 42,000 after receiving the Grand Elder boost. Meanwhile, the fierce warrior Tien reaches 67,000 entirely through raw training without any ancient magic. He could obliterate 20 Raditz clones effortlessly. Goodness me, these earthlings still pale in comparison to the mighty Saiyang bloodline. That once timid 8-year-old Gohan now commands 150,000 points. Let me remind you that Goku at 12 years old had a pitiful 40 points. This means the young prodigy outclasses his own father by a factor of 3,550. The most underwhelming progress belongs to Piccolo. He failed to multiply his stats by dozens, merely growing 1.7 times from 1,400,000 to 2,500,000. Vegeta, after his Namekian resurrection, avoided another disgusting spike, only boosting by 150% to reach 3,700,000. Yet all these numbers become utter garbage the moment they sense 2 astronomical energies descending from deep space. It is none other than that malaria-stricken Frieza, reborn as a grotesque cyborg with a base form sitting at 8,500,000. He alone could slaughter 2.5 of our strongest Vegetas. To make matters worse, he brought his daddy, King Cold, the self-proclaimed father of the cosmos, carrying 9,900,000 points. Mother of mercy. You tyrants should stay on your ship and vaporize the planet from orbit instead of walking down here. Setting foot on this dirt makes you undisputed gods, because our dying chickens pose zero threat. But wait, a mysterious golden-haired warrior abruptly crashes the party. It is Trunks, the 15-year-old son of Vegeta who sailed through time from a grim future. Damn, the Frosty family is in for a rude awakening. However, the scanner reads a pathetic 3,200,000, rendering him even weaker than Vegeta, like a total scrub. But this boy immediately activates a cheat code by igniting his Super Saiyan aura. His aura explodes to 160 million, slicing the 9 million point Frieza perfectly in half before anyone can even blink. The royal Frieza forgot his power scanner, foolishly assuming the boy draws his strength from that glowing blade. He cunningly tricks Trunks into handing over the weapon for a test swing. Unfortunately for him, an insect wielding a sharp twig cannot execute a soaring dragon. Trunks effortlessly sends the Grand Monarch straight to the graveyard. With a casually innocent blast, moments later, Goku touches down in his personal space pod, radiating a base level of 4,200,000. Recognizing their shared Super Saiyan heritage, the two engage in a brief sparring match to test the waters. To the sheer humiliation of the time traveler, a golden Goku blocks a furious sword strike using only his index finger. The legendary hero has pushed his limits to a staggering 210 million. Trunks spills the tragic lore of his time travel, warning of unspeakable cyborg horrors arriving in 3 years, and predicting Goku will suffer a lethal bout of food poisoning from a bowl of cursed noodles. The boy hands over a magical cure-all medicine and vanishes into the temporal rift. The Earthlings celebrate, yet Vegeta stews in a bitter rage. Once the proudest elite, he now stands in the shadows of peasants. He swears to shatter his limits and overcome the blinding plot armor of our main protagonist. Little does the prince know, no matter how much blood he sheds, Goku will effortlessly unlock a shinier transformation simply by being the golden child of the author. It is agonizingly frustrating. The rest of the planetary defenders commit to brutal training, preparing for a spoiled apocalyptic showdown against the androids 3 years down the line. At this specific checkpoint, Goku secures his throne as the supreme champion with 210 million points. 3 grueling years evaporate, bringing forth the prophesied day of reckoning. The team aggressively hunts for the 2 rogue machines destined to burn the world. Krillin pulls off a miraculous 10-fold multiplier, vaulting from 45,000 to 450,000. Yamcha retains his title as the reigning disappointment, despite growing 6 times stronger to hit 230,000, which ironically matches Vegeta when he clashed with the alien tyrant. However, those two are irrelevant trash when you look at the 3-eyed monk Tien, who breaks the 1,100,000 barrier. Gohan secures 3 million, while Goku chills at 4 million. Bay tells you right now, this squad could easily conquer the cosmos. Even their weakest link rivals the entire galactic invasion force from a few years ago. Yet the nightmare today features 2 mechanical horrors forged by a mortal scientist. Heaven knows where they harvested such indestructible metals to engineer robots rivaling the Emperor of Space. We are dealing with Android 19 possessing a casual 85 million, alongside Android 20, who is Dr. Gero himself packing a sinister 90 million. Holy Mother of Kami, a single unit could butcher the entire Earthling Dream Team. But kindly remember that Goku possesses the Super Saiyan multiplier, instantly skyrocketing to 200 million. So why on earth is he struggling against this obese pale machine boasting only 85 million? The horrifying truth reveals that this abomination absorbs kinetic energy from every incoming ki blast. The monstrous machine grows endlessly stronger, while Goku suffers a sudden catastrophic failure. Cold sweat drenches his face as the lethal heart virus strikes. Despite radiating 200 million points, the lethal infection plummets his combat power down to a miserable 70 million. This cursed plague waited perfectly until the battlefield to trigger. Thanks to Goku arrogantly leaving his futuristic medicine at home, the greatest warrior alive is getting mercilessly thrashed by a bloated metal clown. In that desperate hour, the arrogant Prince Vegeta makes his grand entrance. His base power reads a modest 5 million, but you would be a fool to underestimate him. Vegeta finally unlocks his own Super Saiyan form, buying him endless bragging rights. The 50 times multiplier propels him to a divine 250 million. Naturally, he massacres the bloated android like a helpless infant, pulverizing his metallic skull into a fine mechanical powder. Dr. Gero realizes his impending defeat, so he cowardly retreats to his lab to unleash androids 17 and 18, while the Earthlings soar directly there to obliterate the poor old scientist and his wretched hideout. Once the old man awakens 17 and 18, they brutally crush him to pieces, stomping his brain beyond any hope of revival, before they activate the ultimate machine, Android 16, and casually walk away. Vegeta is furious. They appear right before his eyes, then leave like it is nothing. treating him like a mere pest. So he intercepts them, demanding a fight even though they have not harmed anyone yet. Here, Vegeta is clearly the villain. He instantly flexes his 250 million power level to provoke them. But unexpectedly, the petite android 18 is built like a tank. Without a single transformation, her power surges to 275 million, beating Vegeta to a pulp and effortlessly taking down his weakened son along the way. She alone crushes two Super Saiyans simultaneously despite being a weaker model, since Android 17 holds a staggering 300 million power level, and the mysterious Android 16 possesses infinite world-destroying capabilities that remain entirely unmeasured. However, this squad is surprisingly decent since they kill nobody, even advising the survivors to take their fallen comrades home for medical treatment. They merely desire to borrow a vehicle for a leisure drive to visit their sick pal Goku. And 18 even leaves Krillin with a gentle kiss that keeps him daydreaming endlessly. Wrapping up this arc, the strongest measurable fighter is 17 with 300 million, alongside the enigmatic Android 16 whose destructive force is immeasurable and who has yet to throw a single punch. A couple of days pass, and the alternate timeline Trunks discovers another of his time machines in a remote location. This belongs to Cell, who murdered Trunks in a different future timeline and traveled back here to consume 17 and 18. Evolving into his perfect form with ultimate maximum power, Kami witnesses this from above and is terrified out of his wits, so he decides to fuse with Piccolo to gain the strength to combat these androids. He becomes a Super Namekian with 265 million power, slightly weaker than 18 at 275 million, yet stronger than Cell at 220 million. Despite this, he still foolishly picks a fight with 17 and his 300 million power level. However, during their fierce clash, Cell creeps in from the shadows. Having consumed tens of thousands of humans, his maximum power has now skyrocketed to 390 million. Both Piccolo and 17 are beaten utterly senseless by him. Truthfully, there is one person capable of stopping Cell, but he stubbornly refuses to intervene. And that is Android 16 with his massive 380 million power level. Wait, the moment Cell attempts to devour 17, 16 immediately steps in and smashes Cell in the face to save his companion. This is his rare first strike that does not involve killing Goku. With a fully mechanical body, he flawlessly prevents Cell from draining his life energy, while unleashing devastating techniques to leave the monster covered in severe injuries. Nevertheless, Cell silently materializes behind 17 and swallows him whole. Evolving into his semi-perfect form, the split-second 16 senses the shifting tides. He instantly bolts away in a frantic retreat without looking back. Tien Shinhan steps up boldly with his tri-beam cannon at 220 million power, shattering the earth with endless barrages. He firmly pins Cell down, buying precious time for 16 to drag 18 away to safety. Meanwhile, Vegeta and Trunks finish their intense training in the hyperbolic time chamber, so they confidently hunt Cell down for a showdown. However, Cell sits at 570 million, while Vegeta is only at 500 million, and Trunks at 480 million. How can they win? Fear not, for Vegeta ascends to his muscular Super Saiyan grade, launching his power straight up to 750 million. He effortlessly toys with Cell like a helpless toddler, feeling deeply disappointed by Cell being so weak. Vegeta arrogantly allows the monster to achieve his perfect form for a more thrilling battle. As Cell takes off, Trunks immediately blocks his path. Thus, Cell is forced to turn back and pathetically beg Vegeta to make his son move aside, demanding Vegeta to intervene immediately. Right then, Cell spots 18 in the distance, prompting Trunks to bulk up his own muscular form to block him, reaching 720 million power. As Trunks charges at Cell, his own father ruthlessly kicks him out of the way. After successfully absorbing 18, Cell achieves his flawless, perfect form with a towering power of 980 million. Now, Vegeta is nothing but a pathetic insect to him. Krillin charges in with his 450 power level, raining blows upon Cell to no avail, only to receive a single swift kick that knocks him entirely unconscious. Vegeta is now less than trash in the eyes of Cell, who can defeat him while barely even trying. Boiling with rage, Vegeta unleashes his final flash with an astronomical 1.4 billion power level. Luckily for Cell, it is not a direct hit, so he only loses half of his torso. Thanks to the Namekian cells coursing through his veins, Cell regenerates flawlessly and knocks Vegeta out cold. In that desperate moment, Trunks unleashes his true hidden potential, He hid this from his father to spare his pride. The maximum ascended form of Trunks hits 920 million, sacrificing speed for an insane explosion of raw muscle mass. However, Cell mocks him by mimicking the exact same muscular expansion, blasting his power to an absurd 3.5 billion. Cell could execute Trunks in a heartbeat, but he spares him. Bound by the battle-hungry Saiyang genetics within his core, Cell allows them to return home and train harder, setting up a scheduled tournament for his own sick entertainment. Welcome to the ultimate martial arts tournament, the Cell Games. High above in the heavenly realm, the Saiyans and Namekians refuse to surrender. They continuously cycle through the hyperbolic time chamber for extreme training, where a single grueling day equals an entire year inside. The human military desperately strikes Cell with heavy weaponry, but he effortlessly wipes them all out in an instant, ensuring his precious martial arts arena remains perfectly intact without wasting his day. The fated day finally arrives. The world-class champion Mr. Satan shows up 12 minutes early, boasting a miserable power level of 64. He loudly accuses Cell of planting explosives to wipe out the military. He confidently turns his back and slaps his own rear end at Cell, showing utmost disrespect to his opponent. This majestic display is broadcast live across the entire globe, leading Master Roshi, who is watching from home, to bluntly state that this fool undeniably deserves to die. With only 5 minutes remaining, the actual Earth Defense Squad arrives. Mr. Satan immediately assumes this group is merely using cheap magic tricks to fake their flying, brushing them off as deceitful frauds who always rely on illusions. The hour of battle strikes. Mr. Satan hauls out 15 solid bricks and dramatically smashes 14 of them in one strike, before glaring at Cell with overwhelming arrogance. That overgrown insect is practically digging his own grave now, folks. Mr. Satan then unleashes a relentless barrage of punches and kicks upon Cell, moving so fast it is blinding, but luck is not on his side. Fortunately, he survives, smashing his head straight into a mountain with absurd durability. It was merely a minor slip. The undeniable truth is that the champion merely lost his footing. He will take a brief breather before jumping right back in to squash that bug. After all, it only takes 5 mere seconds to crush that pathetic loser. Round 2 begins. Goku steps onto the battlefield without hesitation. His current power level, while maintaining his base Super Saiyang form, stands firmly at 1 billion. This means he has multiplied his strength 5 times over compared to a few days prior, while Cell remains securely at 980 million. The two warriors trade blows on equal footing, exchanging heavy strikes simply to warm up their muscles. Following that clash, Goku powers up to reveal his true hidden strength, soaring straight to 4 billion. That is a 20-fold increase from his past limit. One must wonder what he consumed to become such an unstoppable force. Acting almost like a hero hoarding endless cheat codes with his sudden explosive growth, Cell refuses to be outdone. Whatever he absorbed over the past 10 days pushed his own power to 4.5 billion, placing him 500 million ahead of Goku. This overwhelming aura violently blows away everyone standing nearby. Mr. Satan scoffs, claiming it is another cheap magic trick that any amateur could easily replicate. What is the matter? Bring it on. I have not even done anything to deserve that fierce glare of yours. My eyes are naturally built this way. Curse you. I have never feared a single playground bully since my early childhood days, so there is zero chance I would ever cower before a pint-sized freak like yourself. Goku ruthlessly beats Cell like a stray dog, yet the monster shrugs off the brutal assault without a single scratch. These fighters possess adequate speed, right Mr. Satan? Yes, it is somewhat passable. Cell unleashes his stolen Kamehameha wave to obliterate Goku. The raw energy of this attack spikes to 6 billion, packing enough lethal force to shatter the earth. Goku flies upward to bait the monster into aiming high, before bending the rules by using instant transmission to teleport behind his enemy for a devastating sneak attack. However, thanks to that massive gap of 500 million, Cell instantly retaliates and forces the tricky Goku to bite the dust in supreme humiliation. Feeling restricted by the arena boundaries, Cell shatters his beloved ring so the entire Earth becomes his boundless battlefield. What a bothersome and deceitful fiend. He then freely spams his lethal techniques, forcing an exhausted Goku to desperately flee around the globe. Driven by frustration, Goku prepares his modified Kamehameha wave, a blast capable of eradicating the Earth with an astonishing 5.8 billion power level. Yet, the Saiyang bends the rules once more. He uses instant transmission to warp directly behind Cell before firing the beam skyward. Who could possibly endure such a catastrophic strike at point-blank range? Cell loses his entire upper half, but within a single minute, the monster regenerates flawlessly back to normal. Boiling with rage, Goku unloads an endless barrage of energy blasts, draining his own stamina drastically. However, Cell activates his perfect barrier to flawlessly deflect every single incoming strike. The malicious android smirks, mocking Goku to chew on a Senzu bean to resume the fight. Since the Saiyang stands zero chance in his current state, naturally, Goku refuses the offer. Only the proud Vegeta truly understands the burning pride hidden within the battle-hungry warrior Kakarot. I firmly believe he would rather face death than accept victory through such pathetic means. You must keep in mind that he is not fighting for the sake of the Earth right now. Yet that reckless father sabotages the planet far worse than Vegeta could ever imagine. He formally surrenders to Cell, nominates another fighter to step into the ring, and tosses the monster a Senzu bean to restore his stamina for the sake of fairness. Once fully healed, the villain possesses ample power to easily obliterate the Earth. Thank the heavens above, Mr. Satan. The moment has finally arrived for you to beat that vile insect to a bloody pulp. Sweet mother of mercy, my stomach is in unbearable agony. I desperately crave the chance to fight that wretched bastard, eager to snap his neck like a fragile twig. However, my raging stomach cramps are holding me back. Fortunately, Goku spares Mr. Satan and summons his own son to act as the sacrificial lamb. The young boy instantly boosts his power to a solid 4.2 billion, meaning he surpasses Goku, yet he still falls significantly short of the towering Cell. Prepare to meet your doom. In truth, Gohan is a gentle soul who harbors a deep hatred for violence, so he holds his fists back. Meanwhile, Goku is fiercely eager to witness his son fight, so he constantly provokes Cell, instructing the monster to figure out a way to make the boy snap. Cell tortures the boy with a crushing hug to force out his hidden rage but fails miserably. What better method exists to trigger a brutal meltdown than slaughtering his beloved family and closest friends? Android 16, wielding 380 million power, charges into Grapple Cell, intending to detonate his internal bomb to blow the bastard to hell. However, his human allies unknowingly seal his fate. They had previously extracted that devastating explosive device from his chest. As a tragic result, Cell ruthlessly blasts him into scattered metallic debris. Cell spawns 7 miniature clones, each boasting 2.4 billion power, to massacre the helpless Earthlings afar. Krillin holds 450,000, Tien has 1.3 million, Piccolo sits at 820 million, Trunks reaches 1.85 billion, and Vegeta brings 2.2 billion, enduring for a brief moment. Regarding Yamcha and his sad 230,000, Bay safely assumes he will not survive this nightmare. Once Cell ruthlessly crushes the severed head of Android 16, Gohan hits his breaking point. Fueled by primal fury, he awakens Super Saiyan 2 for the first time, doubling his raw power to an astonishing 8.4 billion. Armed with this newfound might, the boy effortlessly slaughters the 7 clones in a flash. Sensing severe danger, Cell decides to unleash his genuine strength. Wait a minute, does that mean your previous power-ups were mere bluffs, you arrogant fool? Cell flexes his muscles once more, achieving a blindingly radiant aura with 5.9 billion power. However, he still falls short of Gohan by a massive 2.5 billion margin. Consequently, the villain suffers a gut-wrenching punch to the stomach, followed by a brutal blow that shatters his jaw. Consumed by desperation, Cell resorts to the legendary Kamehameha wave, pushing its destructive output to 7.5 billion. Gohan merely flashes a mocking smirk, as that blast pales in comparison to his own raw strength, not to mention he mastered the exact same technique. Thus, the young Saiyang fires a counter wave reaching a monstrous 9.5 billion, blasting Cell into a state of critical injury. Standing on the sidelines, the battle-hungry Goku desperately wishes his son would instantly execute that crippled monster. However, the young boy has fully inherited his father's reckless Saiyang combat lust, so he refuses the kill, even granting his enemy ample time to regenerate his wounds. Driven by sheer madness, Cell transforms into his enraged bulky state. He retains his perfect form but becomes incredibly hideous with grotesque bulging muscles. Where did he hide all this monstrous power? Since his body suffered severe crippling injuries, his maximum limit only reaches 7 billion. Had he been healthy, his energy would soar much higher. Despite his villainous nature, he acts honorably by refusing to chew a Senzu bean. He remains a full billion behind Gohan, even though the young warrior lost stamina during their fierce clash. Following this, Gohan delivers a sickening blow that forces the enraged android to vomit up Android 18, instantly reverting Cell to his semi-perfect state with a pathetic 580 million power level. At this point, Gohan could effortlessly flick the bug to death, and even Vegeta or Trunks could beat him into a bloody pulp. However, the cunning insect rapidly inflates his own body into a colossal ticking time bomb, threatening to instantly obliterate the Earth and everyone standing nearby. Rumor has it this catastrophic detonation equals hundreds of tons of raw explosives. Thinking on his feet, Goku utilizes his signature instant transmission to teleport that lethal bomb into the deep cosmos, blowing up the Supreme Kai and his pet monkey in a blinding flash. The Grand Ruler of the galaxy suffers an utterly pointless death, all because of Earth, a tiny insignificant speck sitting on the edge of the universe. Unfortunately, Cell survives the blast. By pure luck, his core brain nucleus remains intact, allowing him to flawlessly regenerate from scratch. Furthermore, he resurrects straight into his flawless, perfect form without needing Android 18. Thanks to the Saiyang genetic trait coursing through his veins, his immense strength skyrockets to a terrifying 8 billion. To make matters worse, he masters Goku's instant transmission technique, immediately warping back to the earthly battlefield. A sinister gust of wind sweeps across the wasteland, and Trunks is brutally murdered on the spot, consumed by blinding grief over his fallen son. Vegeta unleashes his furious 2.2 billion power level to assault the monster, only to be ruthlessly struck down in a heartbeat. Thankfully, Gohan steps in to carry the heavy burden, saving the proud prince from certain doom. However, the heroic young Saiyang suffers a severely crippled arm as the brutal cost for protecting his comrade. Growing utterly bored of this pathetic brawl, Cell decides to annihilate the planet alongside this wretched group of losers. He fires a catastrophic Kamehameha wave packing a monstrous 9.5 billion power level, perfectly matching the peak strength Gohan displayed earlier. The grim reality is that Gohan now stands crippled at death's door, forced to face oblivion with a single functioning arm and his energy severely cut in half. From the afterlife, Goku channels his voice through King Kai to telepathically encourage his son, preaching that unshakable faith conquers all obstacles. Clinging to that profound belief, Gohan launches a desperate one-handed Kamehameha to counter the handsome devil. At that precise moment, the power of faith works miracles as the spirit of Goku manifests to support his boy. It looks perfectly like Yugi pulling off a ridiculous cheat code, neutralizing the blue eyes white dragon through the sheer power of friendship. Gohan pushes his energy output to 9 billion, sitting marginally below the monstrous android. As Cell prepares to deliver the final killing blow, Vegeta plays dirty by hurling a surprise energy blast right at the monster's skull to shatter his focus. The second the villain turns his head to curse the proud prince for his cheap interference, Goku triggers the ultimate cheat code. Funneling his massive spiritual energy directly into his son, the overwhelming beam instantly explodes to 11.5 billion, vaporizing Cell from existence. There is not a single microscopic speck of flesh left to regenerate, securing his permanent death. Wrapping up this saga, the strongest warrior is undeniably Gohan with his raw baseline of 8.4 billion, capping off at a miraculous 11.5 billion when combining spiritual forces with his father. If we compare this to a 12-year-old Goku sitting at a measly 40 power level, this astronomical stat boost stretches beyond the realm of common sense. Oh my goodness, Mr. Satan, what on earth just happened? Where did that terrifying Cell vanish to? Hey, are you talking about those pathetic amateurs performing their glowing magic tricks? I charged right in and kicked that hideous green freak straight into the outer cosmos. As for the rest of that cowardly squad, they showered me with endless gratitude before scurrying away like frightened mice. This is magnificent news. Mr. Satan has heroically rescued our beautiful Earth from the demonic clutches of the vile monster Cell. That is the undeniable truth. Ha ha ha, you heard it here firsthand, folks. Our beloved planet has been granted a second chance at life, and we owe it all to our glorious champion Mr. Satan. Hail our glorious savior Satan. Offer up your hearts. Fast forward 7 peaceful years, and a massive martial arts tournament is underway. Goku manifests from the spirit realm to join the fierce competition, but as fate dictates, wherever this Saiyang walks, sinister villains are sure to follow. Therefore, we will skip the boring filler and jump straight into measuring the power levels of the notable warriors gathered here today. At this mundane era, a world-class human fighter hovers around 38 to 50 points, with someone like the mighty Punta sitting at 38. Naturally, he falls pitifully short of the world champion Satan and his 67 points. Surprisingly, his feisty daughter surpasses her old man with a solid 70 points. Meanwhile, the two wicked henchmen deployed by Babidi to drain energy, Yamu and Spopovich, hold 220 and 230 points respectively. Now it is time to highlight the undisputed strongest Earthling alive, Krillin. holding a comfortable 510,000 power level. As for the overwhelming alien cast, heavens preserve us, the power gap is incredibly ridiculous. The pint-sized Goten kicks off with 5.4 million, bursting into Super Saiyan to hit 270 million. Young Trunks edges ahead with 5.7 million, ascending to 285 million. The mysterious Guardian Kibito brings a respectable 40 million. However, the Supreme Kai, the grand deity above all deities, sits at a staggering 3.6 billion. A number that should make ordinary Saiyans weep in despair, but fear not, for the seemingly rusty Gohan idles at a modest 70 million, only to abruptly erupt into Super Saiyan 2. His energy spikes to a terrifying 7 billion, instantly reducing those prestigious gods to crying messes. No one on this earthly stage can possibly rival Gohan's overwhelming might. Oh no, Gohan is paralyzed by a divine sneak attack, allowing those brainwashed weaklings to violently drain his golden aura. Our young hero is ruthlessly treated as a sacrificial bait so the gods can track down the hidden lair of the dark wizard Babidi. Upon breaching their sinister underground stronghold, our warriors are greeted by a horde of fearsome, nightmarish monstrosities. First up is Pui Pui with 1.65 billion, who is promptly pummeled to death by the arrogant Vegeta. Following him is the light-eating Yakon at 1.34 billion, who gets effortlessly blown to smithereens by Goku, stepping into the ring with the Demon King Dabura, who boasts 4 billion in power. Gohan strangely decides to drag the fight out. The rusty scholar only triggers his base Super Saiyan form, limiting his output to 3.5 billion. His sloppy and hesitant combat style grants the sinister Demon Lord an unnecessary upper hand in the brutal clash. After Dabura gazes into the dark abyss of Vegeta's wicked heart, he immediately reports to Babidi and gracefully retreats from the battlefield. We can blame this disaster entirely on Gohan's foolish hesitation. Had he swiftly executed the Demon King and assassinated the Dark Wizard, the dreaded Majin Buu would have remained sealed away until the distant year 3000. Consequently, Vegeta and his baseline of 85 million fall victim to the wizard's dark mind control. In exchange for his soul, the spell forcefully unlocks the Saiyajin's deeply buried hidden potential. His Super Saiyan multiplier boosts him 50 times to 4.2 billion, while the magical enhancement rounds his total power to a flawless 5 billion. He massacres half the stadium audience just to force Kakarot into a savage deathmatch. What a poetic coincidence! Goku starts with a baseline of 100 million, and his Super Saiyan form perfectly equals 5 billion. Unwilling to drag out the fight and feed precious battle damage into Buu's resurrection gauge, Goku skips the pleasantries and ascends straight to Super Saiyan 2. His 10 billion power level is meant to instantly execute the Rogue Prince and end the madness. To his profound shock, Vegeta also breaches the Super Saiyan 2 barrier, pushing his own limit to an identical 10 billion. With two evenly matched titans colliding, a bloody war of attrition is inevitable, unknowingly fueling the dark cocoon to awaken Majin Buu. Panicking at the sight of Buu's imminent revival, the Supreme Kai screams for Gohan to run for his life. Stubbornly refusing, the young warrior fires a desperate Super Saiyan Kamehameha directly at the Dark Sphere, unleashing 8.3 billion in raw power. Unfortunately, the ancient shell proves far tougher than his meager assault, stubbornly refusing to crack. When the mechanical lid finally hisses open, the terrifying pod is completely empty. Oh well, we are doomed now. If only Gohan had bothered to trigger Super Saiyan 2, rip Dabura's head off, and crush the Dark Wizard, this horror movie would have already rolled its end credits. To everyone's horror, the ominous pink steam from the pod condenses high above the cavern, rapidly morphing into a giant chubby pink blob. Heaven save us. The legendary Majin Buu is merely an overgrown fat toddler. Do not let his comical appearance fool you, for he radiates a monstrous 9 billion combat power without a single transformation, making him the supreme threat in the room. Meanwhile, far outside the rocky battlefield, Vegeta senses this seemingly pathetic 9 billion energy signature and chuckles with immense arrogant disdain. After all, the proud Saiyang Prince commands 10 billion on his own. After Dabura foolishly insults him as a brain-dead clown and an idiotic overgrown toddler, the pink monster throws a catastrophic temper tantrum. Boiling steam violently erupts from his cranial pores, and his beady eyes snap wide open to reveal pure murderous intent. Fueled by raw fury, the fat warrior's power skyrockets to 11 billion. Moving faster than lightning, he ruthlessly gouges the eyes of the trash-talking Demon Lord, before booting the wretched King miles across the desolate wasteland. Gohan is relentlessly hunted down and blasted into a pile of bloody rubble with a single devastating punch. As for the majestic Supreme Kai, he is beaten into the dirt like a ragdoll. The pink menace bashes his skull and gleefully stomps on his fragile spine. nearly crushing the god's intestines into paste. Driven by righteous fury, Gohan charges in and kicks the monster square in the jaw, only to receive a point-blank energy wave that blows him over the distant horizon. One can only guess if the poor scholar survived that impact or if he has already booked his one-way ticket to the afterlife. In a desperate ambush, the arrogant Dabura impales the pink monster straight through the gut from behind. Highly annoyed by the pesky demon, the fat entity swiftly casts a magic beam, turning the Demon King into a sweet crunchy biscuit. He gobbles the treat down to satisfy his raging appetite, because fighting on an empty stomach is terrible for digestion. Just as Buu prepares to transfigure the Supreme Kai into a tasty chocolate bar, Vegeta obliterates the underground spaceship and makes his grand entrance. The proud prince resolves to settle the score with this obese freak, arrogantly insulting the creature as an uneducated, mindless dimwit. You see, Buu shares the fragile emotional maturity of a 4-year-old toddler. He is easily manipulated and quick to forget, yet his feelings are profoundly sensitive. Provoked into a second apocalyptic meltdown, his cranial vents spew violent clouds of steam, and his monstrous energy erupts to a devastating 17 billion. Heaven preserve us. At this rate, not just our fragile Earth, but the entire physical universe is guaranteed to perish in flames. Vegeta aggressively pummels the pudgy demon like a helpless infant, even blowing a gaping hole straight through his soft belly, causing the dark wizard Babidi to tremble in sheer terror. However, the physical damage means nothing to the magical beast. Infuriated by the pain, the pink monster detonates a massive shockwave across the battlefield, leaving the Saiyang Prince coughing up blood. Realizing he stands zero chance of defeating this indestructible blob, Vegeta orders his family and allies to flee the area immediately. He remains behind to perform the ultimate sacrifice, compressing his entire life force into a colossal suicide bomb. The resulting shockwave unleashes a cataclysmic 23.5 billion power level, erasing every microscopic trace of life within the vicinity. Ironically, Babidi survives thanks to his magical barrier, and Buu simply reconstructs his scattered pink flesh seconds later. Aside from the prince himself, not a single soul perished in this monumental blast, making his heroic sacrifice tragically useless. While the wicked wizard and his pink lackey systematically obliterate cities in search of Piccolo and the two brats, Goku boldly steps into their path to stall for precious time. To command their full attention, the Saiyang warrior ascends to the mythic Super Saiyang 3 form. This explosive transformation drastically burns through his remaining hours in the mortal realm, but it pushes his staggering might to an unfathomable 30 billion, holding a maximum limit of 25 billion. The pink demon is humiliated and beaten like a stray dog. Goku ruthlessly grabs his fleshy head tentacle, swinging the heavy monster around like a broken toy. Having successfully stalled for enough time, the Saiyang rapidly exhausts his golden aura. He reverts to his base form and promptly returns to the heavenly realm, leaving Buu with a thrilling promise to face two incredibly powerful children in exactly 2 days. The foolish Babidi makes the fatal mistake of screaming at the pudgy demon, branding him an overweight, useless pig. This unforgivable insult pushes Buu over the edge, masking his rage. The monster deceives the wizard into stepping closer, swiftly grabbing him by the throat to silence any binding spells. With a sickening crunch, Buu crushes the tiny wizard's windpipe, proving that behind that goofy pink smile hides a surprisingly cunning and deceptive brain. By this hour, Goten and Trunks have successfully mastered the fusion dance, boasting a raw base strength of 180 million, overflowing with arrogant childish confidence. The fused warrior flies off to hunt the pink demon, only to crawl back home with a brutally shattered ego and heavy bruises. During this chaotic window, 80% of the global human population is ruthlessly wiped off the map. Fear not, my dear viewers, for the glorious Mr. Satan has finally stepped up to rescue our dying world. Emerging from his fortified steel bunker, he boards a private jet soaring directly toward the demon's twisted headquarters. Naturally, his magnificent combat power remains locked at a consistent 64, showing zero signs of rust. Listen closely, Buu. Step outside right now if you have the guts. Your daddy has been waiting for this confrontation for way too long. Do not tempt me into kicking your front door off its hinges and dragging you out by the collar. Is your throat feeling a bit sore today, sir? You are whispering so quietly. There is no chance the monster can hear you. Allow me to lend a helping hand with this megaphone. May the heavens curse you. You oversized, bloated, pink tub of lard. The hour of your miserable execution has officially arrived. Drag your fat carcass out here right this second before I lose my temper, you treacherous bastard. What is wrong with your brain? If you scream that loudly, the monster might actually hear us, and then we are all dead meat. In a twist of fate, the 67-point champion steps up to solo the 23 billion power demon. Moving from face-to-face tension, he resorts to bribery. feeding the monster premium poison chocolates and detonating remote explosives hidden in video game consoles. Through sheer dumb luck, he slowly transitions from a terrified servant into the pink monster's dearest best friend. Ultimately, Satan secures a terrifying 23 billion power level bodyguard to ensure his safety. To cement their beautiful new friendship, Boo digs deep into his baggy pants, pulling out human transmuted chocolate treats and offering them to the champion as a token of goodwill. High above on the heavenly lookout, Goten and Trunks trigger their Super Saiyan forms and perform the fusion dance, giving birth to Super Gotenks with a massive 9 billion power level. Despite remaining significantly weaker than Majin Buu, this arrogant fused warrior desperately craves to obliterate the pink monster immediately. Fortunately, their fused state forcibly separates after 30 minutes. Otherwise they would have undoubtedly marched straight into a brutal massacre. One fateful day, a group of vile poachers arrive to hunt down the beloved pet dog of Majin Buu, pushing the innocent monster into a state of blinding fury. However, he restrains his murderous urges to honor his sacred vow of peace with Mr. Satan. The heroic champion swiftly dispatches those wretched thugs, yet a treacherous stray bullet strikes him down. Witnessing his dearest friend bleed out shatters the mental restraints of Buu. Thick dark steam violently erupts from his skull, condensing high above into a terrifying, emaciated grey manifestation of pure evil. This skeletal nightmare commands a staggering 29 billion power level, leaving the original chubby entity severely drained at a mere 23 billion. The two divided halves engage in a brutal fight to the death. Ultimately, the chubby entity suffers a tragic twist of fate when his own transmutation beam bounces back, turning him into a sweet chocolate treat before the skeletal demon ruthlessly devours him. Overflowing with sadistic joy from absorbing this fresh energy source, the evil incarnation mutates into a highly athletic Super Buu, boasting an apocalyptic 52 billion combat limit. At this terrifying stage, his absolute dominance remains entirely undisputed. However, he surprisingly spares the trembling Mr. Satan, as the lingering subconscious of the innocent fat blob buried deep within his core violently refuses to let him harm his former best friend. This newly evolved predator possesses the terrifying ability to track energy signatures from across the globe. Instantly locking onto Piccolo and the surviving warriors hiding in the heavenly sanctuary, he invades their domain demanding a brutal death match. Desperate to stall for precious time, the Namekian uses clever negotiation tactics. Overcome by extreme boredom while waiting, the pink demon casually unleashes a deadly human extinction attack, treating the global massacre like a harmless fireworks display. With no other options left, Piccolo guides the monster into the hyperbolic time chamber to face the two brats. Before they can properly merge, Buu lands a savage strike on Trunks and his 5.7 million aura, requiring endless begging before the villain allows them to perform the ritual. Entering the battlefield as base Gotenks with 180 million power, the boys deliver a flurry of strikes that barely tickle the beast, rewarding them with a brutal beating. Realizing their foolishness, they erupt into Super Saiyan, surging to 9 billion, yet that monstrous pink devil commands 52 billion. The massive power gap makes their desperate struggle look entirely pathetic. Seeking a creative trump card, the fused warrior unveils his self-taught Super Ghost Kamikaze attack. He spits out an unstable ectoplasmic clone designed for a suicide bombing. The split second the ghost touches the pink demon, it triggers a catastrophic explosion, forcing the 52 billion juggernaut to briefly stagger in agonizing pain. Seizing the upper hand, the cocky brat spawns 10 explosive phantoms simultaneously. However, his lengthy setup causes the pink monster to lose all interest, casually lying down to read comic books and sip sweet soda. A few ghosts are carelessly destroyed, but these spectral clones surprisingly outsmart their dim-witted opponent. They cunningly lure the gullible beast closer before detonating in a massive chain reaction, reducing the unstoppable demon into a bubbling puddle of pink slime. The final ghost cleverly dives straight into the gooey mess, blasting the creature into countless microscopic fragments. Unfortunately, the arrogant fused Saiyan foolishly neglects to vaporize the remaining chunks. Consequently, the sinister villain effortlessly reconstructs his entire body, proceeding to relentlessly pummel the disrespectful brat into a bloody pulp. The time for childish games has officially expired. Considering the pink terror barely threw a single serious punch all morning, trembling in sheer terror over their impending doom, Piccolo acts in pure desperation and obliterates the dimensional doorway. His grim intention is to trap the demonic entity within this endless white void for all eternity, permanently cutting him off from the mortal realm. The horrifying realization that he will never taste sweet candy ever again shatters the pink demon's sanity. He channels every ounce of his chaotic energy into a deafening roar of pure despair. To everyone's profound shock, the sheer sonic pressure rips a gaping tear through the fabric of space and time itself, creating a direct pathway back to the outside world. Although momentarily stunned by his own accidental miracle, the villain swiftly compresses his rubbery body and slithers out to freedom. After a brief period of useless struggling, the frustrated Gotenks decides to stop holding back. He violently ascends to the mythic Super Saiyan 3 stage, pushing his aura to a towering 54 billion. Following the demon's exact blueprint, he unleashes a mighty vocal shockwave that tears an even larger dimensional rift than before. With an abundance of open space, the arrogant Golden Warrior casually strolls through the portal with majestic swagger, refusing to squeeze through like a pathetic slimy worm. Upon returning to the lookout, the horrifying discovery that the demon had devoured every remaining survivor sends Gotenks into a blinding rage. He effortlessly dominates the pink menace like tossing around a helpless infant. He creatively traps the monster within a dense energy sphere, brutally spiking him down toward the earthly ruins in a sadistic game of volleyball. Driven by sheer vengeance, his relentless assault noticeably drains the regenerative stamina of the beast. If the villain absorbs any more punishment, his immortal flesh will permanently expire without a chance of revival. The fused Saiyang leaves his opponent bruised, fractured, and entirely stripped of any defensive maneuvers. However, right at the crucial moment to deliver the lethal executing strike, the overwhelming physical toll of Super Saiyan 3 shatters his transformation. Reverting to base form, he helplessly watches the demon perfectly regenerate all sustained damage. In a pathetic display of cowardice, the deflated brat awkwardly stammers, begging for mercy while claiming the entire brutal beatdown was merely a friendly sparring match. Heaven preserve us all. Has our magnificent Earth officially reached its inevitable doomsday? Although a microscopic fraction of humanity somehow evaded the slaughter, they are nothing more than insignificant weaklings intentionally ignored by the Pink Terror. A glorious glimmer of hope pierces the darkness. The ancient Elder Kai successfully completes his mystical ritual, drawing out the absolute hidden potential of Gohan, retaining his humble base form without needing a golden aura. The young scholar's raw strength skyrockets to an astronomical 70 billion, sweet mother of mercy. That makes him 1.5 times stronger than the peak output of Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. If he theoretically triggered a basic Super Saiyan multiplier, his energy would shatter the cosmic scales at 3.5 trillion, while ascending further would eclipse 7 trillion. With those theoretical numbers, he could effortlessly wipe the floor with 1,000 copies of Majin Buu, cementing his status as the undisputed lord of the multiverse. Maintaining his calm composure, the mystical warrior steps up to violently dismantle the pink demon without shedding a single drop of sweat. Overwhelmed by sheer terror, the cunning beast stages a fake suicide detonation, utilizing the blinding smoke screen to suppress his spiritual pressure and scurry away like a cowardly rat. Exactly 2 hours later, the malicious entity returns from the shadows craving brutal vengeance. He deliberately calculated his arrival to perfectly match the recovery timer of the two Saiyang brats. One must sarcastically admire his villainous honor, keeping his twisted promises instead of fleeting away like a fickle butterfly. Taking the bait, the reckless boys immediately execute their fusion dance and flare up their 54 billion Super Saiyan 3 aura to resume the bloody conflict. However, this entire scenario was a meticulously crafted trap. Knowing he stood zero chance against the mystical Gohan, the devious demon detaches 2 hidden pieces of his rubbery flesh. He ambushes both Gotenks and Piccolo from behind, wrapping them in an inescapable pink blanket before fully absorbing their bodies into his core. This foul fusion forcefully evolves him into the supreme ultimate Majin Buu, sporting a lengthened cranial tentacle resembling glorious Super Saiyang hair. His facial features sharpen into a dangerously handsome predator. More importantly, his devastating combat capacity violently surges to a jaw-dropping 110 billion. The sole reason the sinister villain refused to absorb Gohan was his twisted desire for a challenging rival. What joy comes from claiming the absolute throne if there is nobody left to execute? Tragically, the power scales have drastically shifted, rendering the noble scholar as helpless as worthless trash. The upgraded demon unleashes a relentless barrage of strikes, leaving the young hero bleeding out without a chance to retreat. Coughing up blood, Gohan begs the champion and his loyal dog to evacuate the battlefield immediately. Yet, Mr. Satan stands firm, boldly drawing his firearm and declaring he is fully prepared to blast a hole straight through the skull of the arrogant pink beast. Witnessing the unfolding disaster from the sacred realm, the noble Elder Kai sacrifices his own divine life force to fully resurrect Goku. He entrusts the Golden Warrior with the sacred Potara earrings, banking everything on a permanent fusion between father and son to birth the ultimate savior. Meanwhile, in the depths of the underworld, King Yemma bends the spiritual laws to grant Vegeta his physical body back, dispatching the proud prince to the mortal realm to halt the demonic rampage. completely oblivious to the ancient binding magic of their own sacred jewelry. The Supreme Kai and his loyal attendant foolishly swap earrings merely for a brief experiment. To their profound shock, their physical bodies forcefully slam together, permanently merging their souls into the divine Kibito Kai with a newly forged power level of 7.8 billion. Down on the devastated surface, Gohan is ruthlessly beaten into a bloody pulp before the young Guardian Dend miraculously restores his stamina. Enraged by this divine interference, the Pink Demon fires a lethal energy sphere to execute the healer. Mr. Satan desperately fires his magnum revolver, believing his meager bullet shattered the incoming blast. In reality, the heroic Tien Shinhan intercepted the sphere from afar. Oblivious to the truth, the champion confidently aims his weapon, apologizing for his lethal intent. Suddenly, the demonic entity is cleanly sliced completely in half. However, this was not the work of a bullet. Goku utilizes instant transmission to join the fray, hurling a devastating energy disc to sever the beast. The Saiyang father desperately tosses the divine Potara earring toward his son, but the mystical scholar tragically fumbles the catch. To buy precious seconds for Gohan to search the rubble, Goku ignites his Super Saiyang 3 aura, throwing his 30 billion power level into a desperate holding action. Just as the young hero locates the missing artifact, a stroke of terrible luck strikes the pink villain. The fusion timer for the two brats trapped inside his stomach abruptly expires. His stolen power violently plummets, cutting his supreme strength down to a fraction. Now significantly weaker, he poses absolutely zero threat to the mighty Gohan. It seems the risky fusion plan is no longer necessary. Unfortunately, the cunning devil is always 10 steps ahead. He purposefully severed a slippery chunk of his head tentacle earlier, leaving it hidden in the rocky debris. This slimy parasite silently slithers behind Gohan, suddenly enveloping the young warrior in an inescapable pink prison. With a triumphant roar, the monster absorbs his greatest threat, undergoing his final and most terrifying evolution. Standing before them is Buhan, an absolutely flawless and devastatingly handsome predator radiating an unfathomable 130 billion combat power. My goodness, this monstrous juggernaut could effortlessly slaughter 4 Super Saiyang 3 Goku simultaneously. Make no mistake, our surviving heroes are staring directly into the abyss of certain death. Stripped of all tactical options, Goku desperately scans the barren wasteland for a viable fusion partner. However, the only remaining candidate is the trembling Mr. Satan, who better to merge with than the celebrated champion of Earth, the glorious hero famously known for saving humanity. It sounds like an absolutely flawless strategy in a time of sheer desperation. How in the name of the heavens did that pink freak put himself back together? My revolver is completely out of ammunition, so how am I supposed to execute him now? Oh, is that your grand concern right now? In that hopeless moment, Vegeta makes his dramatic arrival upon the earthly ruins. Overjoyed by this timely miracle, Goku instantly teleports to the proud prince, frantically begging him to swallow his pride and wear the divine earring. After intense persuasion, the two legendary rivals slam together, giving birth to the invincible Vegito. Even resting in his base form at 9.25 billion, his spiritual pressure is suffocating. However, the fused warrior wastes no time holding back, instantly erupting into Super Vegito. His golden aura violently explodes to an astronomical 475 billion. Good heavens above. That makes him nearly 4 times stronger than the ultimate demonic predator. He proceeds to mercilessly humiliate the pink villain, tearing his regenerating flesh into scattered bloody pieces. Pushed to the absolute brink of humiliation, the desperate demon fires a magical beam, successfully transmuting the golden warrior into a tiny chocolate-flavored jawbreaker. Tragically for the villain, this magical candy retains the full 475 billion combat power, due to its microscopic size. The incredibly fast jawbreaker repeatedly shatters the demon's teeth and cracks his skull, forcing the weeping monster to revert the spell just to stop the agonizing pain. Driven by sheer madness, the pink devil exploits a microscopic opening, using a severed piece of his own slippery flesh to engulf the mighty Vegito, swallowing him whole to secure his ultimate universal dominance. Do not despair, for the invincible Vegito survives the terrifying descent, upon entering the toxic internal environment of the demonic beast. The magical barrier drops, forcefully splitting the warrior back into Goku and Vegeta. Seizing the sudden opportunity, the proud Saiyang Prince immediately crushes his divine earring to dust, and Kakarot quickly follows his example. After all, remaining permanently fused with your most irritating rival for all eternity sounds like an absolute waking nightmare. Navigating the fleshy internal caverns, the duo discovers their fallen comrades cocooned within the pink walls. Serving as living batteries for the monstrous host, they swiftly sever the fleshy organic cables, drastically weakening the physical form of the beast outside. Pushing their sabotage further, they violently rip the original chubby Majin Buu from his fleshy bindings. This catastrophic internal disruption forces the towering demon to violently regress, violently shrinking into the chaotic and primal Kid Buu. Though his power level drops to 29 billion, this pint-sized terror is a creature of pure, unfiltered malicious destruction, without a single word of hesitation. The psychotic dwarf unleashes a planetary extinction sphere. In the final fraction of a second, Goku utilizes instant transmission, managing to grab Vegeta, Dend, Mr. Satan, and the loyal K9. Tragically, in the blinding chaos, the mighty Gohan, Goten, and young Trunks are left behind to perish in the glorious apocalyptic flames. In a shocking twist, the Pink Menace managed to copy the sacred teleportation technique of the gods, instantly warping to their divine sanctuary. Goku and Vegeta casually play rock paper scissors to decide who gets the honor of executing the demon first. Goku flares his golden aura to unlock Super Saiyan 3, hitting a staggering 30 billion power level, although he outclasses the monster by a solid 1 billion points. The two titans clash endlessly without declaring a definitive victor. Stepping up to the plate, the proud Saiyang Prince volunteers to distract the psychotic dwarf for a full 60 seconds, allowing his rival to gather enough energy to hit an astronomical 40 billion. Unfortunately, Vegeta suffers a brutal and bloody beatdown long before the minute expires, leaving him hovering at the brink of death, by a stroke of sheer luck. The undisputed Universal Champion Mr. Satan steps forward to rescue the fallen prince. Listen here, you miserable pink freak. Did you honestly believe the reigning world champion traveled all this way merely to enjoy the scenery? My patience has run entirely dry, so I am going to crush your skull into dust right this instant. Why wait around when you can deliver the finishing blow immediately? Fortunately, the innocent chubby entity trapped deep within the mind of the chaotic dwarf forcefully intervenes, causing the villain to violently regurgitate the fat monster. The pink demon retaliates by throwing a punch directly at the nose of the champion. Thanks to his miraculous endurance, Mr. Satan merely suffers a minor bruise. Stepping into the fray, the chubby incarnation vows to protect his beloved friend at all costs. Armed with 23 billion in combat strength, he falls slightly behind but manages to stall the psychotic threat. In a catastrophic turn of events, Goku suddenly leaks all of his gathered spiritual energy. His majestic 40 billion aura shatters, forcing him to revert to his vulnerable base form, sitting at a mere 100 million power level. During this desperate hour, Vegeta formulates a brilliant tactical maneuver, prompting Kakarot to praise him for being far sharper than his usual rugged exterior suggests. The proud prince commands Den to warp to New Namek and summon their mighty wish-granting dragon. The strategy involves two vital requests. First, perfectly reconstruct the shattered Earth, and second, resurrect every innocent soul slaughtered since the Dark Wizard arrived, deliberately leaving the wicked criminals to rot in the underworld. The two Saiyang warriors desperately plead with the revived humanity to raise their hands and donate their life force to forge the ultimate spirit bomb. Sadly, their pleas fall on deaf ears. Thank the heavens for the undisputed savior Mr. Satan, who steps up and commands the entire global population to lift their arms to the sky. This monumental contribution pushes the massive energy sphere to a staggering 150 billion. To seal the deal, the majestic dragon restores the drained stamina of Goku back to maximum capacity, allowing the hero to thrust the colossal bomb forward and vaporize the Pink Menace for all eternity. Thus concludes the grand saga of Dragon Ball Z. The ultimate pinnacle of combat strength belongs to the invincible Vegito, holding an unfathomable 475 billion power level. Attempting to compare such godly numbers to an ordinary human defies all logic. We are officially bringing this power scaling series to a close due to dwindling viewership metrics. Bay pushed through to deliver this final breakdown solely out of respect for the dedicated fans who eagerly awaited the complete Z experience. Otherwise we would have pulled the plug back in the early arcs.